So, Lee, it's been a while since we've seen you, but you're finally back May 10th against Anthony Cacace. Just tell me, this time you've had away, how has it maybe affected you? Has it been a frustrating time for you?
Yeah, a while out the ring, a little frustrating at times. I've missed it. Not the politics side of boxing, but the actual boxing. I've missed it, and I was so relieved to finally get my date nailed down and signed and sealed with Frank.
You were obviously maybe like kind of the forgotten man of British boxing for a while. What was it like being in the gym, seeing everyone flying, kind of having their dates, getting their victories, and while you're working away kind of behind the scenes? What was that like?
Yeah, I've been there before with injuries and um, at my old gym. Not being able to get fights, but being consistent in the gym, and I knew that it pays off staying in the gym. I knew that eventually opportunities come. You can't just like switch off and not train. Think, nothing's coming up, so I'm just gonna take my foot off the gas because that's one of the main reasons I got to where I am today is just being consistent and staying in the gym when things weren't coming. Even after I won the British title, I had no date, but I stayed in the gym, and then the world title came up with 6 weeks notice. So I knew that staying in the gym will pay dividends, and I was in the gym even when I had some injuries and that. So even when I was injured, I remember limping into the gym with a swollen knee and that, and look at what we doing here. And I was like, came down to SXL, did a bit of bags, and then another injury. I was running, I couldn't box. So like, I always say to people to do what you can do. Think of a reason to train than a reason not to train. Like I said, it paid off. Like, people say, you had a long time at the ring, but I haven't had a long time at the gym. So
You're almost one of the most experienced heads in that gym, I'd imagine now. You've been there since really Ben started it, I think. Just what's your kind of relationship like with the other fighters, especially like you've got your Taumers coming up?
yeah, some really talented kids in there. But I always, I try not to preach, but maybe a few words of wisdom here and there. Moses is extremely talented. But there's been talented lads in the gym before, and I say to them, that's not enough. You need to work hard. You need to be consistent. You need to listen to Ben and Lee. And there is a few standout kids again, like you just said, Moses. He's special, and he does all them things as well. Um, but yeah, sometimes they lead on me for advice and that. But I always say to him, like, we'll just talk about then. Stay ready. Um, Shabazz, there was a time of the year and he was like, nothing's coming up. I said, mate, just stay ready, stay in the gym, and then come back to me after a few wins. That he was right. And looking at now, he's flying and it's come off his career biggest win.
During this time away, well, not time away, but maybe this period of inactivity, was there every consideration just to be like, I've had a nice few wins here, maybe I just call it a day?
Nah, because I love boxing. I don't like the politics side. That is so frustrating. Oh, I can't wait to see the back of that side of things when I finally do retire. But I love boxing. Like actually just preparing for being up against it. I've just been told I'm possibly going to go again. So these are the things that I enjoy, and going out on fight night and proving everyone wrong. A lot of people right as well. Just enjoying the moment and showing what I can do and everything that goes around it, the build up, the fight, and after. There's nothing like it, to be honest. That's what I get from boxing.
In terms of the Kikachi fight, it felt like it was on, and then it was off. He was fighting Nunes, and then he was fighting you again. It felt like it went on forever, in a way. What was the major thing that kind of held it up, and what got it over the line in the end?
Me and Frank did a deal, and gave me his word, shook his hand. The months went by, and I was getting messages of friends and friends of friends, and it's like, what's happening? Like, he's fighting him. He's fighting him. Sent me. I went, no, Frank's. I shook his hand like, because I've not dealt with Frank before. I was like, so I texting Frank, are you sure? And then Frank's like, yeah, don't worry, mate. It's sorted. Like, you're fighting him. So I said to him, says, calm down a bit, And another month went by, and then gets announced, and he's a man of his word, and pleasure to work with.
In terms of what other offers were on the table, because you were a free agent, I think, just left with Matchroom. Was this the best offer, or was it just something that kind of drew you in a little?
Yeah, well, for a short period of time, the rematch was highly likely with Warrington, and then I had a few injuries, and then I went back to match him to negotiate again. Things weren't the same. I just didn't really like the vibe, and then looked at the landscape and I thought, well, they was fighting each other, which I was frustrated about because I wanted to fight Kikachi, but then obviously the next best thing is to fight the winner. I wasn't ready anyway. When I seen the fight get made, I was trying to get, this isn't fair. I tried to get the fight with Kikachi, and my team was like, you're not even going to be ready. I'd already stopped the ball rolling to negotiate for it. I'm like, yeah, you're right, I'm not ready. But just being a fighter, you just want to fight, and I want to have time, to be honest. So yeah, everything for a reason and all that. But Kikachi made the most sense from a challenge point of view, from a legacy point of view, from proving yourself as well. Yeah, it's the fight I wanted.
Yeah. In terms of Kikachi, similar to yourself, he's kind of come on late, a bit of a late bloomer. He's come on in his 30s. How much respect do you have for him for doing what you did as well?
Yeah, very similar. He's won a few fights he wasn't expected to win. I've been an underdog for a few fights, especially the Cordina fight, which was a great win. Yeah, massive respect for him. He's come the hard way, very much like myself. Didn't have a massive promotional deal when he turned pro. So we're very similar in that respect, and I think that's what's going to make a great fight. Both been beaten in the past and learned from it and came back stronger.
And in terms of what are you expecting from him on fight night? He's obviously more of a brawler, we say, than a technical boxer.
No, I don't think so. I don't want to talk in riddles, so I don't want to give too much away. I might give a bit away in previous interviews, but my team do all that. They do the due diligence, as you should call it. They do the scouting report, they give it to me, they do it down, they pick all the bits and bobs out, the tendencies, and I'm confident in that. I'm confident what we've been working on. So without giving too much away and talking in riddles, swerving that question a little bit.
In terms of, you've got Joe Cordina in your gym, who obviously had that fight with him and lost his IBF title in slightly controversial manner. Two questions really here. Is there a want to maybe get a little bit of revenge for him?
This is just basically, from a selfish point of view, I just want to prove myself. Yeah. Joe's in the gym. He's a great fighter, Joe. Great fighter. I'm not sure what happened and what went wrong with that fight. I really watched it all the way through, to be honest. I see the story just pop up all the time on Getting Queens, where I'm not actually watched the whole fight, but my team has. My team's pulled out the things that worked and didn't work and gave it to me in my approach. But yeah, he's in the same gym, mostly trains with Barry. But no, not really. I don't feel like it's a revenge mission or anything like that.
Have you had a conversation with Joe, maybe just advice, what as fighters do, just how did you find him? You only know until you're in there, really.
Coaches have asked him certain things about certain moments and that as well, yeah. Like going anything away.
So I think everyone expects this fight to be a bit of a barn burner, as your fights always are and Anthony's always are. At this stage in your career, and almost I asked the same question to Kikachi, do you start to think about maybe the damage you can do in these kind of fights?
Not really, no. Yeah. As a fighter, I think you have to be a little bit naive in the sense of not thinking about what damage you're causing, not thinking about what damage you're receiving, and the forefront of your mind has to be to win the fight at any cost.
Kikachi mentioned to me the winner of this fight should get a world title. I don't know if you can reveal any more on that.
Not sure, but I don't really think about it down the line. I think about my next fight. I take everything fight by fight and just get the win at any cost, and then once we've got the win, then we'll look at what's next.
And in terms of the champions, we've got Foster, Navarrete, Roach, and Nunes. We presume it'll be Nunes, yeah. Possibly. Out of them, who would you say? True, yeah. True.
No, but just a lot of people will look at how long ago he's had this many knockouts and so many fights. But who is he actually knocked out that's credible, you know? One of the kids who boxed recently stopped him in, I think it was 9 rounds. He was like 38, 39 years old. So, yeah, that's not just discrediting him. I'm just saying he needs to fight someone worthy of actually the world title before he can make presumptions. And you never know. So you may get beat, you may not. So what was the last question?
So out of the champions, which one would be your ideal choice, or maybe a route you'd like to go down for you?
I think the Navarrete fight would be stylistically a great fight for me. I've said that a few times, but the WBC belt would be a nice one to get as well. But I don't know how many fights I've got left. We'll see. Taking it fight by fight, and next up, Kikachi May 10th. Eyes on the job, get a victory alone.
That was going to be my next question. Was going to be how long have you got left? But I'll change it a bit to be, what's your maybe ideal way out of the sport? If you could choose a little route, just a few fights, just I'll do this, maybe the forest ground and then out.
Yeah, ideally would get the win on 10th of May, and then possibly box for the Ring Magazine belt and sit down would be ideal. But the time of year and all things go around it would be hard. But yeah, that would be ideal.
Leigh Wood, thank you so much for your time. Thank you.